Gamers and gentlefolk, hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to Season 21 of the Nexus Gaming Series. I'm going to be your host for the evening, The Sound, and I am excited to bring the latest installment of the largest North American amateur Heroes of the Storm League. Welcome back, everyone. It's great to be here. I noticed a lot of dropped frames during that intro there. I had a little bit of trouble with my machine earlier today and thought I'd sorted it out, but I'll try and keep an eye on that, and if the stream ends up being too low quality, we might end up calling it a little early. And I'll just have to keep investigating why my processor and graphics card don't want to play together anymore. With that housekeeping out of the way, let's talk about this series for the night. We're taking a look at Division A, one of the first games of the season, though not the first game of the season. I believe that happened last night. But the first broadcast of the season, so that's pretty exciting. We're going to be seeing Division A Gen.M Esports take on Braincellmates in a best-of-3 series. Both of the teams are returning to Division A. They were here in Season 20. Both of them making it into the postseason of Season 20 as well. Gen.M made it into the semifinals, and Braincellmates actually ended up going all the way and winning the Division A Grand Finals. Very exciting stuff. So they've had opportunities to play against one another in previous seasons. This is the tiebreaker set. They've got 2 lifetime sets thus far, and in Season 17, it went the way of Braincellmates. Last season, Season 20, Gen.M took it. So this season, they have the opportunity to kind of put an exclamation point on which of their squads is the more powerful. I just got out of the coin toss lobby with the 2 teams, and breaking news, Gen.M are having a blast with a creative approach to draft, both in heroes and which players are going to be playing on any given game, so we can expect a lot of exciting, perhaps off-meta picks from them. On the other side of the battleground, Braincellmates, this is their 5th season together, and they have always been in Division A for those 5 seasons. As mentioned, they were the Grand Finals champions last year, and they have the same squad, so no roster changes from their championship-winning squad. They finished 6th place in the regular season, behind Gen.M, in fact. Gen.M finished the season in 4th place, but it's all about when you get your wins. And Braincellmates were able to secure the all-important wins in the postseason, so they were able to clinch it up. I can see Tixmaster asking about mines, which I think is an excellent way to segue over to our battleground draft. We can see that... Oh, there we go. We had Braincellmates win the coin toss and opt for first pick. There are bans on Dragonshire and Volskaya from Gen.M, and Infernal Shrines and Braxis Holdout for Braincellmates. So we're headed to Towers of Doom for Game 1. We will not be seeing a Haunted Mines game. Unfortunately, it is not in the legal map pool for NGS. If you do a very close reading of the community rules and both teams were to agree to go to a non-legal map, technically, as it is a self-policed rule, that would make it a viable option. But, you know, that's just with a very close letter of the law reading of the rules. There have been no map changes for the season outside of the general map changes for the most recent patch. So you can use !patch in chat to get the latest there. Watchtowers change, and minion timing has been synced up in the last few patches, but no major changes. It looks like we've got our teams all set up in the lobby, so we should be off and running shortly. I'm excited to see Towers of Doom. It's always an exciting game one because it can show if a team prefers more of a split push, backdoor heavy play style, or opts for more of an in-your-face pushing, team fight oriented approach to the game. Towers of Doom is one of the more flexible battlegrounds. Of course, you can't perfectly backdoor. It does incentivize some amount of fighting given the nature of the objective, and you cannot go straight to core. You do have to get shots one way or the other. We'll see what the first ban is from Braincellmates. Dahaka and Zagara have been popular bans against Gen.M, as has Stukov and Garrosh. So we'll see how the priority ends up. We see a Junkrat ban, another favored hero for Gen.M. And there's the Johanna ban. So both teams having played against each other last season, they've got their scouting homework done already. Of course, that might be a little tricky given how Gen.M are approaching their drafts. We see the Zagara ban as well. Zagara actually a hotly contested pick between these two teams. So Braincellmates also a fan of the Zerg, as we see the Stukov ban. Very typical. And Sylvanas first pick. Okay. Sylv, one of the heroes to recently get her Pinnacle quest added. Once again, all that information can be found over at !patch. Thrall, another one, and paired with Diablo. Okay, so a relatively solid frontline locked in for Gen.M. We'll see how Braincellmates want to round out the draft here. We could see a Brightwing or Anduin. A very early Leoric. Leoric and Tychus both bringing a fair bit of percent damage to make Infofox on Diablo a lot less comfortable. And with the Anduin ban, that eliminates one of the better answers for Entomb, from the healer slot anyway. There are other tools that allow you to escape. Bunker comes to mind for me. If placed close enough, your ally can click through terrain to get in the bunker, as we see the Dahaka ban. Dahaka ban, always solid, having a global. Thrall, unlikely to be played in the offlane given his lack of wave clear, so we'll probably still see an offlaner picked up for Gen.M. I'd love to see them snatch a healer in this slot. And they're going to go with Tyrande. Tyrande, another recently changed hero. She's got a baseline quest. Her level 1 talents have been swapped around as a result. There's the Garrosh and Brightwing. Alright. So lots of comfort heroes. And the Malthael, last but not least. Alright, let's take a look at both of our teams' drafts as they get through the swap round and load in for game 1. A Diablo Tyrande is always a intimidating stun chain in the core 4. Being able to get onto Tychus could be troublesome. The armor reduction from Tyrande's trait also puts a lot of pressure on the Garrosh. With that said, the Brightwing is an excellent answer for Thrall. He won't be able to charge in and stack Wind Fury for free with Polymorph available. So it could go either way. Sylvanas, if she gets stacked relatively quickly and comes online early, that will also put more pressure on the Thrall and Diablo. Tyrande doesn't have the highest healing throughput. So both teams have a lot going for them in their drafts. It could really go either way, and it all comes down to the execution. So let's see how it all works out and get into our first game of the series. We'll also take this opportunity to introduce both squads. Here on the left in blue, we've got Gen.M Esports, Storm playing Malthael, French on Li Ming, Psycho playing Tyrande, Infafox on Diablo, and Solian on Thrall. To the right in red, we've got Braincellmates, the Duke on Tychus, Bones on Garrosh, Protoss Rule playing Sylvanas, Amon on Brightwing, and Jaeger playing Leoric. Take a look at our level 1 talents and see how things are going. Unrelenting Torment at level 1 for Sylv. French able to blink out there, but it's not going to be enough. An excellent follow-up from Braincellmates secures first blood, and they're immediately going to get onto this Bruiser or Sapper camp. The Sapper camps, as with all mercenary camps, spawn at 30 seconds now, so that early kill nets a invade when it wouldn't otherwise. Infafox caught on the wrong side of town, and that's going to be the second takedown in favor of Braincellmates. They're able to get all 3 sappers into the wall there, and they've got a big healthy wave thanks to the baseline changes to Sylvanas' possession. Lots of damage there. We have Crash Lightning for Solian on Thrall, as they're going to be playing around more than one hero. They've got opportunities to get it stacked up, but I don't know if it's necessarily going to get a lot of use, especially with the baseline possession for Protoss Rule. It makes it very difficult for there to be free and clear lanes for the Thrall to bounce his Chain Lightning on heroes freely. With that said, up to 4 stacks, first reward given at 15 stacks. Oh, another great engage from Bones. Bones on the Garrosh, doing an excellent job playing out of vision and catching up to even the most slippery hero on Gen.M's roster with Li Ming. And there you have it, 4 unanswered takedowns. It's off to a tough start for Gen.M. Braincellmates are showing exactly why they were the division champions last season, and they want to take the tiebreaker set or tiebreaker match in their lifetime set with Gen.M. The Duke flipped in, but he's going to be able to squeak back out to safety right as altars spawn here on the bot lane. An early level 7 for Gen.M, or I'm sorry, for Braincellmates, and they're showing no signs of slowing down here. It's just a handshake trade on the top side. And so with their level 7 talent advantage, Braincellmates secure the core HP lead and another sapper camp here in bot lane, which will immediately threaten the core. We'll see if any of the sappers can go in. Bones tries to get a toss in on that. Looks like they were able to. Alright, I thought it looked like a minion that got tossed, but it means Into the Fray is not available. And of course, unfortunately, the observer interface that I'm using has not been updated recently. So I'm going to do a really gross thing for everyone and hit tab to see how we're stacking on Sylv and Tyrande. It's 5 stacks for Tyrande, 115 for Sylvanas. Sylvanas gets her first break point at 250, which is a big damage increase to her trait damage. While we've been checking out Gen.M poking away at the bot fort, the Duke has been busy getting rid of another sapper camp, so that'll pressure the bot lane while Braincellmates pressure the opposite side. It's a lot of damage onto Jaeger there, but Bones has Into the Fray to save their Leoric once again. A timely phase shift from Eamon. And so it is once again a handshake trade on the top side of the battleground, and it puts Braincellmates at 34 and Gen.M at 24. So a 10 core HP lead, not insurmountable, but the heroic talent tier that Braincellmates have secured is going to make it very difficult for Gen.M to get any free experience on the map. I would love to see them perhaps look to gank mid. Leoric is not the most easily ganked hero, of course, but they're not getting a lot done with Solian here in bot lane. Up to 18 stacks on Crash Lightning, which gives a damage burst. Yes. Importantly, Solian has not lost a lot of stacks. Storm's made the rotation down. There's a great Indomitable from Bones. Huge taunt. The Duke tossed out. Storm tossed under the fort. Are they going to survive? Psycho is able to keep him up, and they get the takedown on the Duke. So the rotation in from Malthael was the difference maker, and it looks like it's the juice that Gen.M need to take this fort and their first takedown. They had to throw every heroic at it, but they were able to secure it. We'll see them immediately transition to the mid lane with Tychus down. They're going to try pressuring the mid fort. They've got inspired minions. Protoss Rule opted for Overwhelming Affliction. Not Overwhelming Affliction. Unstable Poison at level 4. So there's no Haunting Arrows to disable the structure, but even so, a massive wave in mid gets through about half of that fort. And so we're back within 6 HP of each other on the core. We're still missing a couple heroics for Gen.M, so they're not going to look for anything aggressive here onto the Sapper camp. Speaking of heroics, we never called them out. It's Last Rites, Disintegrate, Starfall, Earthquake, and APOC for Gen.M, with Braincellmates picking up Commandeer Odin, Warlord's Challenge. Topside, Jaeger and Eamon get the takedown. I missed it. There's a toss in, but Bones immediately has the taunt available. Lots of heroics flying once again. The Earthquake goes out. And we have yet to see a mind control from Sylvanas. So that is going to be excellent follow-up CC for any of these engagements that Bones has been able to find. Infofox doing a good job trying to patrol the bot side of this lane, but they got a little too far away, and they're able to get everyone out. But Jaeger comes in. There's the toss onto Infofox with the APOC, a toss out onto Protoss Rule. A lot of damage onto Diablo, but the Starfall comes down, and that proves to be enough healing for Gen.M to weather the storm. We've got a rotation coming in from Malthael, both teams on level 13 talents, and French has opted for Glass Cannon. All right, Protoss Rule, do they have their wave available? They do not. So they'll secure a takedown. On the bot side, there's a channel from Bones, but they get tossed back in here. A great, unstoppable, indomitable from Bones, and they're able to escape the last rites as well. Absolutely devastating set of options for both of these teams. And there we have it. That's the pinnacle, or the mythic quest for Thrall. Chain Lightning now does 325 damage on bounces. So that's pretty exciting. Alright. Braincellmates have set up with 5 in the mid lane. But it looks like they're not too excited to take the fight to the bot lane. Protoss Rule eating a full combo from the Glass Cannon. Infofox looks... Oh no, and the Mind Control lands as well. That's going to be the takedown. Diablo Souls reset. So he'll be back shortly. He'll still have 25 souls in the bank, but he's going to be a lot easier to take down. And W build is one of the safer builds for building up souls, but it's not one of the faster ones. So Diablo may have a bit of trouble getting that tankiness back up. Remorseless at 13. I love the passive pressure that we keep seeing in the mid lane. The fort could fall to minions passively. On the bot side, we've got Solian kind of alone with Infofox. Oh no, Infofox caught. There's the toss in and the polymorph to follow up. Mind control, and that's it. They weren't sure where Braincellmates were going to be. They did an excellent job playing out of vision, so Gen.M had to commit Psycho towards the top half of the map. And without souls, Infofox is a pretty easy pick off. It did cost them a mind control, but it's a relatively short cooldown coming back in the next 10 seconds. Storm in a lot of trouble here. There's another polymorph with the level 16 armor reduction, and another takedown. 9-2 thus far for Gen.M. I'm sorry, for Braincellmates. Taking a quick look. We've got deaths across most of the team. Most importantly, however, Solian, although I think they did change the mythic quests in the most recent patch, you can no longer lose stacks after you've gained a milestone. So I think their mythic is all locked in. Level 16's on both sides now. It's a full orb Li Ming for French. A fair bit of damage from that long-range siege. There's the APOC. No one's in range, but a great last rites. Oh, but Amon gets the phase shift, and it's Infofox who will pay with their life. Bones able to escape with a hope and a dream and a little HP. But a little HP is all you need when you've got Brightwing as ready to heal you as Amon has been. The Duke trying to chase on. Bones gets the Groundbreaker, but Solian still has their route available, and so can peel for themselves on the way out. Storm on the top side. Looks like they're going to pressure Amon here. So we've got to see if anyone's going to respond to Gen.M's objective stall. Storm tossed in once again. They'll heal up a little bit more, but the polymorph will be the end of Malthael once again. 11th takedown for Braincellmates thus far. Looks like the game is starting to chug pretty hard here, unfortunately. Losing a lot of frames. Especially in these hectic team fights, Infofox able to escape with a hope and a dream. Solian not as lucky, and so French unable to find that all-important first takedown for the Li Ming resets. Infofox would love to escape here, but Jaeger Wraith walks in with the body block. And so another 4 shots ring into the core of Gen.M, down to 8 core HP thus far, and likely an easy conversion on the bot tower for our red team. Checking in on mid, Jaeger working through mid fort as well. I think technically they're keeps at this point in the game. Oh, the Wraith Strike went in. The Groundbreaker lands true. Storm in a rough spot. They'll pop the Touch of Death, but it's not going to do much to keep them alive. That healing reduction, definitely an important utility tool for Malthael, but it does not help any survivability. So a lot of experience going over to Braincellmates. Towers of Doom, the only battleground where you can still get a chunk of experience from structures that aren't towers. The Duke and Bones all alone here. They've got their Storm talents, but they don't have the rest of the team, and they know it. Braincellmates not necessarily the most disciplined about the vision play on the top side. With that said, Jaeger and Protoss are just chewing through this fort. And so once this keep converts, it's going to be a 6-cap scenario. So they've only got a few moments before the core will fall to this passive pressure. On the top side, Infa and Storm trying to deal with the Sylve. Of course, Sylve has completed her mythical quest, so she gets baseline healing, making her an even more independent hero than she otherwise would be. The core health down to 5 thus far. We've got objectives channelable, but they're not going to need to even do it. They could just let the 6-cap go through. With that said, they're channeling at the objective, and that will do it for Game 1. The shots ring in from all 6 bell towers, and that'll do it for Game 1 in the series. GG and well played. All right, so Game 1 in the history books. We had a relatively commanding showing from Braincellmates. They looked very practiced. Easy to see how they were the champs of last season. And especially Bones on the Garrosh looking like an absolute menace. Excellent out-of-vision play. We can take a look at our post-game stats here. The takedown count kind of tells the whole story. 18-3 in favor of Braincellmates. Infofox and Storm having the roughest time of it on Gen.M, which makes sense, being heroes that have to handle the Garrosh repositioning. We can double check on our builds as well. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. Notably, Protoss Rule did not opt for Will of the Forsaken at 16. We called out the orb build in-game. French trying to punch as much damage through at one target to get the resets going, but the spell armor from Eamon's Brightwing definitely put a damper on that. So there you have it. Game 1 in the books in favor of Braincellmates. Let's head back over to our battleground selection. If you tuned in some way or in the middle of Game 1, welcome. Happy to have you. We've got Braincellmates against Gen.M in Division A, Season 21 of the Nexus Gaming Series. I have been having some trouble with my PC, so if I start to lose frames and things start to get choppy, apologies. Not entirely sure what's been going on with it, but hopefully I'll be able to get it sorted out before we get too far into the season. For Game 2, I'll be interested to see who opts for, or if Gen.M opts for first pick or map pick. They did not have the opportunity to choose last game, thanks to the coin toss win from Braincellmates. Alrighty. And it looks like we are going to have Tomb of the Spider Queen picked up by... oh, I'm not entirely sure. Double check. I think this is the map chosen by Gen.M once again. Let me just confirm that with the teams. So another battleground that can be very strong for Garrosh either way. So I'll be interested to see if the ban priority changes at all for Gen.M. Of course, they did ban Johanna last game, so the Jo ban makes a lot of sense on this battleground as well. Let's hop into the draft. We saw Junkrat and Zagara bans in the first slot for Braincellmates. I wouldn't expect much of a deviation there. We'll see if Gen.M want to adapt. It's going to be another Jo ban. Makes a lot of sense. Last game, they went with a Stukov, but I'll say Eamon looked very strong on the Brightwing as well. So keeping the bans exactly the same in game 1 on the side of Braincellmates. We'll see if Gen.M do the same with a Stukov ban here. I would love to see them potentially take away the Garrosh as an option. Or they've got to pick up better vision control tools. Banning out Anduin this time. Alright, fair enough. Another first pixel bonus. She's strong. She's in a good spot. When she's able to get her stacks together, Sylve definitely a menacing hero. And there's the Garrosh pick, along with the Stukov as well. Okay, very cool. Next two picks here for Braincellmates. We saw offlane and second damage last game. We'll see if they lock in the same. Another Leoric. And Brightwing as well. Okay. They like the Leoric as an answer to the tankier front lines, it seems. And of course, Brightwing, always a very strong hero. A new Barak ban. Okay. So definitely narrowing the tank pool for Braincellmates quite a bit. There's the Kerrigan ban. Oh, okay. Kerrigan, another Mythic Quest hero. So a lot of attention and emphasis getting put on these Mythic Questing heroes. We saw the Thrall and Tyrande last game on the side of Gen.M. We'll see another Thrall. This time paired with Tassadar. Tassadar bringing much more wave clear than Li Ming, which makes a lot of sense for Tomb of the Spider Queen. Last two picks here for Braincellmates. They've got their three favorite tanks more or less taken out of the mix. However, they are known to be Stitches pickers. They have picked Stitches, which I find reprehensible. And there it is. Oh no. Alright, Chromie. Chromie brings a lot of good vision control for avoiding the Garrosh. We'll see how Gen.M want to round things out. They may opt for another range damage dealer. They may opt for another melee for the offlane, depending on how they want to flex the Thrall. Lacking wave clear on your offlaner is pretty tough, but it looks like they're willing to take the gamble, opting for Medivh. Alright, so let's head over to our draft while our teams load in. I definitely prefer Braincellmates draft, seeing what they have. They don't have the best lockdown follow-up after the Stitches hook. Polymorph is solid. It's not awful. It's just not necessarily as reliable as perhaps a Tyrande Stun or an Anduin Root. With that said, they've got vision control to deal with the Garrosh. They've got the option for percent damage on Sylvanas and Leoric. Medivh does cure a lot of sins in a survivability sense, and is a solid answer to the Stitches. But it's going to be a tough one, especially with no cleanse. The loop from Chromie going to be problematic. So it could go either way. We'll see if the Medivh is the special sauce that Gen.M need to take it to a Game 3. And we can introduce our teams once again. We've got Infofox on Garrosh, Psycho on Tassadar, Greek Fire on Stukov, Solian on Medivh, and French playing the Thrall for Gen.M. And for Braincellmates on the right, we've got Protoss Rule on Sylvanas, Bones playing Stitches, Eamon on Brightwing once again, Jaeger reprising their role on Leoric, and the Duke repping the Chromie. Time Walker's Pursuit at level 1 for the Duke is yet another tool to keep eyes on Garrosh as much as possible. Here's the portal in. They find the Duke, but there's not a whole lot of damage behind the toss. But it shows that even with vision tools, the Medivh changes the calculus there. So they're able to deny the gems off of the first wave for Braincellmates. Not a huge issue, but it's a consideration nonetheless. French gonna probably dissuade Jaeger from clearing too aggressively there, thanks to their level 1 Wind Fury quest, Maelstrom Weapon. Maelstrom Weapon, one of the questing talents that got the mythic treatment, and the first milestone threshold is now at 25 hero hits. This is where the somewhat lackluster wave clear from Gen.M is going to hurt a fair bit. Braincellmates are going to be able to likely get a lot out of this bruiser camp push here. But of course, with that said, they don't want to walk too close to any gate that has a Garrosh behind it, finding 2 with the Groundbreaker up to 5 stacks on the Warbringer quest. And they've got a lot of safety tools for the Duke to escape between the Polymorph and the Clock. Alright, Infofox taking a lot of poke damage from the Duke there. An unlucky grab on a minion, but the Tassadar wall will get Infofox to safety. Both teams neck and neck on experience here, as my FPS continues to plummet, unfortunately. Either way, Gen.M have been able to sneak in their gems because of how well they're controlling these rotations on the top side. Protoss Rule doing a little bit of bothering for Garrosh, getting a few more stacks for their quest. They've got 2 gems that they'd like to drop, but Infofox and friends would like something else to say about it. They're going to take that opportunity to get their own gems turned in. And there's another portal. Perhaps Bones is in trouble. Infofox ends up finding none. Protoss Rule, however, does not respect that Garrosh is still in melee range. Gets tossed in. They've got Haunting Wave. They've got the Phase Shift from Brightwing. They will be able to get to safety just fine. We're going to have to do the gross tab thing again to check on the Maelstrom weapon stacks. Up to 11 thus far. Oh no, but the wave frozen on the right side of the lane means that Jaeger was able to set French up for Protoss Rule to take down. And this is where the Gen.M draft starts to fall apart a little bit. With someone having to go collect the experience in bot lane, it's very hard for their 4-man to exist without each and every piece. They need the wave clear from Tassadar. They need the protection from both Medivh and Garrosh. And so, even when Thrall gets picked, it affects the entire battleground. Another toss in onto Bones, but they pop the Shambling Horror, and they're able to skate out to safety. 6 gems available for turn in by Protoss Rule. They're dropping them on the bot side now. I don't think Gen.M was able to scout it out. So that's going to be first turn in over to Braincellmates. Their first 2 takedowns, securing the space they needed to sneak their Sylvanas down to the bot payment. Pretty early emphasis on the top lane. It makes a lot of sense given how important the boss lane can be. There's the toss in onto Bones. They don't have the Shambling Horror this time. Great follow-up combo from Greek. Eamon falling low, but they've got the Soothing Mist cleanse, and with their level 7 critical mist, it's a big save, and we see the loop come in from the Duke, the heroic from Chromie, sealing the fate of Garrosh. You can portal away, but the portal will not save you from temporal loop. So Chromie definitely putting a monkey wrench in the Gen.M saving mechanism. Jaeger tended to mid-fort while the objective happened, and so secures the first full structure for Braincellmates. Gen.M are definitely on the back foot now. With that said, they've got enough gems to get an objective of their own, and if they're able to secure it and push out some waves, they could get a lot done themselves. Garrosh is intimidating both on offense and defense. With that said, Eamon has been very timely with their phase shifts, doing an excellent job saving Bones from all of the aggression that they've had to deal with. We've got the rest of the heroics online for Braincellmates, of course. We've got Mind Control, Gorge, Blink Heal, and Entomb. And Gen.M have equalized talent tiers. We've got Warlord's Challenge, Archon, Flailing Swipes, Leyline Seal, and Sundering. A pretty early clear on the Spell Armor. French able to get the turn in on the bot side, and they've got the flank. The root does not land onto Protoss Rule. We'll see if the Sundering catches the stitches in enough time, and they'll find the takedown. So a few different heroics thrown at the Shambling Horror, and he will fall. There's the portal in. Infofox gets mind controlled out of it. Protect from Medivh, and it looks like Infofox will live to tell the tale. Excellent timing on the Force of Will from Solian. And there's the toss in onto Jaeger. A silence catches the Leoric. They've got a lot of damage, but they're able to Wraith Walk to safety. And the Spell Armor aura still available for Gen.M. Entomb finds 2. There's the taunt. Jaeger will fall. A toss from onto Bones. We might see another slow. There's the toss in. Greek Fire. Do they have a weighted pustule? It looks like they won't get it. Infa blocking the hook with the Indomitable. And it's bot fort that falls, while all the attention of Braincellmates were drawn to the mid fort. French was able to take care of the bottom fort. Time loop not in time before the portal goes through. And so both the mind control and the temporal loop missed their mark. Both teams jockeying for turn-ins now. Infofox alone on the top side. Solian is in range to offer protection. It's a little bit of a sand screen while the rest of Gen.M get turned in on the bot side. Of course, Braincellmates are getting gems turned in themselves. Infa finds Protoss Rule with the Warlord's challenge, but not enough damage to back them up. We finish the Warbringer quest. A mind control onto the protected Garrosh. Does Protoss Rule have the Haunting Wave? They do. Infofox a little low on CC here, but French hits a huge flanking Sunder. Bones has run as deep as one can onto the left side of the battleground. And so we'll play a little game of ring around the pay station. I don't think they're going to get out. Yeah, these 15 gems are all but forfeit. It's giving the Duke time to turn in for free on the top side. Jaeger could do the same if they want to start the turn-in. It wouldn't get them much, of course, because they would be down a hero. I expect Gen.M to use this power play to get their gems all turned in. Infofox will secure the next objective phase while French and Greek Fire finish up the siege camp on bot lane. The objective pressure, along with the passive catapult generation in bot lane, means that Braincellmates will probably have to keep Jaeger down there for a fair bit of time. Infofox beelines it for the Duke. There's the Warlord's challenge. Timeout from Chromie. Longest stasis in the game. It doesn't look like it's going to matter. They'll still die. Of course, Bones was able to snag themselves a Thrall on the other side of the fight. So it's 1-for-1. Chromie for Thrall. There's another toss onto Bones. The force wall a little early from Psycho means that they're going to be able to sneak their way back through their gate. Quick portal rotation from Gen.M gets them another fort here in the top lane. And checking in on the bot side, Jaeger has been diligently cleaning up all of the pressure down there. They've got 20 gems as well. Bones looks for another fishing hook, but it doesn't end up connecting. Shadow Walk from Psycho is going to make it a little bit easier for Tassadar to escape there. The only stationary threat, or I should say stationary hero who is under threat at this phase, will be Stukov whenever he's channeling his lurking arm. I said no cleanse, but they've got Garrosh, and Garrosh has a cleanse. It's just not a healer cleanse. French stays in despite the portal out. Takes it last second. Psycho popping the Archon. Thinking that the fight was going to last a little bit longer, we can take a look to see how we're doing on French's stacks. 27 stacks. So they've got their first reward, which is increased movement speed while Wind Fury is active. Oh, Infofox scouted by the clock. They have to pop the Indomitable. But once again, Solian is in range for the save. Bot side, Jaeger gets the turn in. They haven't scouted the Leoric. Okay, Solian finds them with the Raven form. French caught by the hook. A lot of heroics throwing on all sides. A massive leyline seal. Taunt onto Jaeger. Jaeger doesn't have the Wraith Walk. They've got 27 gems on him, and it doesn't look like Braincellmates are going to be able to recover them. Another portal in, but Bones saved the Gorge, so Infofox will pay the iron price for their hubris. On the top side, the objective went completely uncleared, and so top fort quickly falls with a massive wave behind it. Checking back in on mid lane, Braincellmates want to keep chasing as much as they can. Solian and Psycho thinking about putting up a token defense of the bot fort, but with Infofox still waiting for respawn in the next 15 seconds. It looks like they're going to forfeit all of their outer structures. So an even game on experience, an even game on structures. We can say a lot more hero takedown experience for Gen.M with Braincellmates ahead on minion experience. So they're finding ways to keep each other even and honest on the experience front. Another auto attack build for Jaeger on Leoric, up to 34 stacks on Mithril Mace. So their attack speed will continue to climb as they get those stacks taken care of. Minion takedowns and hero takedowns adding to his stack count. French is going to have to show on the bot side to clear up the Siege Giants. Braincellmates, knowing that they are in the number advantage on the top side, get aggressive, get their gems turned in, speed clear the mid-wave to control the vision a little bit more. Solian doesn't have a portal, so they're not going to be able to get the interrupt here. Of course, all the gems turned in for Braincellmates do not net an objective. We've got 17 gems for Greek Fire. They're going to get those turned in, and 20 from French. French has gone unscouted, headed to the bot turn-in, but Time Walker's Pursuit will take care of that. Duke finds Garrosh. Pretty intimidating, but the move speed from Eamon's Fairy Dust gets them out to safety. Braincellmates in full retreat as Medivh just shows exactly where they all are. Medivh's gems are required for the next objective phase, given how they're distributed across Gen.M's squad. Looks like that's going to be enough. The portal, but Bones knows that's just a free gorge. All right. Top wave pretty far back. A tough spot for the spider to spawn, but it looks like they got it cleaned up just in time, so waves will crash pretty evenly here for all three lanes. Not as close to structures as Gen.M perhaps would have hoped for, but it's still going to be relatively difficult for Braincellmates to be everywhere at once. Bones caught outside the gate. They pop the Shambling Horror. There's the Gorge on to the... Oh no, but Garrosh is still stuck in there. The time stop is not a stasis. Pops the Indomitable. A little bit of a... Oh no, one more hook. Finds Psycho. Toss back in. The Protect is good. Infofox gets a huge Groundbreaker to proc their shield. Jaeger is whacking away on the backside of the engagement, and Sylve ends up getting the takedown onto Psycho. Sylve stacks. Sylve has their 250 stacks. I saw that correctly? Yeah. Sylve has their 250 stacks, so they've got their first damage boost. Of course, once they get up to 400 stacks, it'll be an additional damage boost and lifesteal on all their trait damage. Braincellmates showed on vision coming to the boss. Leyline Seal not up for another 20 seconds or so, and importantly, Medivh did not go for cooldown reduction at level 16, opting instead for Stable Portal. So, Solian hovering to try and intimidate Braincellmates off of the point, but they're doing a great job cooldown counting. They know that the Leyline Seal isn't available yet, so they're going to be able to secure boss and turn in both. So top lane in a whole heck of a lot of trouble here. I like Gen.M's response, getting out the Bruiser camp in mid and the Siege camp in bot lane, try and alleviate some of that pressure. A taunt lands onto the Sylvanas, and she also used her Haunting Wave away. She once again did not opt for Will of the Forsaken at 16, so it's going to be a tricky one. Take another look at our Storm talents as both teams have them. Objective still here. The boss was dealt with relatively easily. But Top Keep still going to survive the worst of the push from the boss objective. Jaeger has completed the Mithril Mace quest. They're whacking at full speed now. Mid lane arriving to the keep gate. We'll take a quick look at bot lane. A fair number of objective minions spawn down there. Those little spider dudes whack really hard. What was that force wall? Force barrier level 20 goes crazy. I did not expect the Tassadar to be able to peel for themselves with a force wall cast at max range. That was a surprise. All right. Solian doing an excellent job keeping Bones honest. Infofox likely the target here. They dodge the hook. So Gen.M are going to be able to get the Bruiser camp, get their waves pushing out in mid and bot. And we are at a classic Tomb of the Spider Queen stalemate. Neither team has enough in their pockets to secure a Webweaver phase. The boss is off the map. It's all about vision control at this point. Why is it single-digit frames? Apologies, friends. All right, so with the vision in mid lane heavily controlled by Gen.M, they're going to take that opportunity to get their gems turned in as much as possible. French on the bot side getting that siege camp moving. Jaeger very cautious with their Wraith Walk while Infofox gets close to him. Gen.M on a little bit of a faster pace towards the next objective phase. Next boss available in 1 minute and 40 seconds. And with every gem in their pocket, Gen.M will secure the next objective phase. Bot lane, we've got Protoss Rule working on the siege camp. Infofox scares them off with the Garrosh from a bush jump scare. A classic. And it looks like Gen.M are going to try and focus their efforts here on bot lane. Both their mid and top lanes kind of forgotten on their side of the map. So they're banking hard on being able to secure this keep and hopefully get the game here. There's the taunt follow-up. Oh, huge! Entomb catches two. Importantly, the Stukov, Hungry Stitches, eats everybody up. Greek Fire uses the flailing swipes to get them to safety. Protoss Rule able to escape. Jaeger continuing to whack away on the backline here. They pick up the kill on Greek Fire, but it's 2 takedowns in favor of Gen.M. So 1 for 2, but there's no healer available. It makes pushing very hard. They do have some damage mitigation via Solian, but it's going to be tough to get much done without any HP sustain. French and Infofox have ways to heal themselves up, but Psycho, unfortunately, does not have that luxury. Jaeger just about to respawn here. Oh, the taunt does not find Bones. And another Entomb, this time on to Psycho. Infofox able to peel them out. We've got Portal available. We'll Portal there. But of course, with the stuck in a loop, they're back again. Infofox brought in deep with the Gorge, and so that is another takedown. Oh, Bones with another hook. Jaeger in deep. They've got the slow onto Solian, but with Medivh cheats and Leyline Seal, they'll be able to escape. Another 2 takedowns from the various methods of kidnap that Braincellmates have available to them. Top Keep went down in all the hullabaloo, but they're going to have a relatively easy grab on this boss. They've got 64 gems available to themselves at this point. So with the gems that Jaeger is going to pick up cleaning up the top wave, they have another opportunity at the combination Pizza Hut Taco Bell push of boss objective. Breakfire and French getting the Bruiser camp out again. Jaeger might have seen that route from French, opting just to get the gems turned in instead. The timing on the boss objective, not the best, but even so, it's a lot of pressure. Thankfully for Gen.M, they do have all their heroes available for the defense, but they don't have the Indomitable from Garrosh. There's the Gorge. Hungry Stitches wants some more. Taunt catches one. Psycho able to Shadow Walk to safety. Infofox, are they going to be able to survive the Buried Alive? Stuck in a Loop gets him back in, and it's too much for the Garrosh to survive. Greek Fire, flailing swipes everyone, but another Dark Lady's Call, this time onto this Medivh. Solian falls right after Greek Fire. French and Psycho, not the likeliest of defenders here, and the core is falling. We're down to 50%. Both boss and objective still have some HP, and so that will do it for Game 2 and the series. GG and well played. An excellent series between two storied Division A teams, but in the end, Braincellmates had a little bit more juice in the tank towards the end of that somewhat grueling Tomb of the Spider Queen game. We can take a look at our post-game stats here. I think the Medivh pick into a Stitches or a Chromie is excellent. It's exactly what you want. Unfortunately, into both a Stitches and a Chromie, Medivh doesn't have enough tools, especially once level 20 comes online with Stuck in a Loop and Hungry for more, or Hungry Stitches. Being able to scoop multiple targets or bring a target back multiple ways, it's a huge imposition for Gen.M. Makes it very difficult for them to handle all of the CC available to them. I should be able to secure a post-game interview here in a second, so stick around for that, friends. I just want to make sure that we've got everything set up before we ask folks to join. And yeah, I gotta say, Gen.M's new approach to the draft doesn't look bad, but definitely left things a little bit weird in the later game. And we'll try and snag that interview now. Excellent. Good. Let me just kick over to the interview scene so everyone can hear you. Congratulations on your first win of the season. How's the team feeling after that Tomb of the Spider Queen game?
Pretty good. I think the wheel was favoring us. I'm happy to see.
Do you want to... I alluded to it a little bit, but do you want to tell the audience what we learned about the wheel?
So my understanding of the wheel, but I might not have all the details because this is the first I heard of it, is that they have their full roster of 9 people, and the wheel spins to see who's going to be in the game, and additionally who's the draft. It also controlled what the bans were for the maps. I don't know if it controls anything else in the game. So the roster was functionally random.
Yes.
And then whoever wants to create it creates it, which, lots of chaos. That's fun.
Absolutely. But like you said...
Don't know if it does anything else, though.
Yeah.
Maybe first pick, map pick as well. But.
Yeah. The wheel ended up favoring you guys, as you mentioned. I noticed that you guys kept the bans the same from game 1 to 2. I guess once you learn about the wheel, it's really anyone's guess what the bans ought to be.
I mean, the bans were a function of, is Psycho in the game? The wheel said yes.
Gotcha. Perfect. Well, there you go. If you've done your scouting homework, Gen.M's wheel isn't as perfect a randomizer as one might hope. So you guys won the whole division last season. You're back in Division A. Have you gotten a look at all the other teams in the Div? How do you think the field looks compared to last season? Do you like your opportunities at a potential repeat? I know it's just the first series of the season, but I'm curious to see how you guys are feeling after the off season.
I think there's definitely a few teams that'll put up a good fight. I think we have a decent shot of getting to the playoffs at least, though. How far we make it, time will tell, but I think we're pretty confident that we'll at least get there.
Excellent, yeah. And Division A, the largest division across the whole league, so it is far from a foregone conclusion that everyone gets in, like some of our smaller double round robins. So definitely something to play for. When there was the heavy focus on tank bans, like the tank pool choke, I thought maybe we get the Stitches here. The Stitches Chromie ended up being a real nail in the coffin. Even the Medivh couldn't save Gen.M from all of the different levels of kidnap that you guys have. Is that a pairing that you think is natural, the Chromie and Stitches together, or is that more of a happy accident, what looked best for the heroes that were available for your whole team? And if you don't want to rat on your draft strategy.
Too often, but like, yeah, as you said, it's enough kidnap that they can't escape as much as they try, so it worked well for us here.
Yeah, the Garrosh pick with the Into the Fray was helping in the early game, but once Stuck in a Loop came online, it was nasty to see. And Jaeger looked great on Leoric both games, just wailing away on the backline with the auto attack build, causing a lot of chaos. Yeah. How are you liking the mythic quests, or just on Sylve and then more generally?
In general, I loathe them with the burning passion of 1,000 Suns.
All
on
right.
Sylve, though, I think she's strong because nobody can count to 3, and so she hasn't been nerfed to the ground yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, counting to 3 before you press your buttons, it's important. It's good.
It does, in fact, help.
It helps
And
you
I think
get the
she would have
damage.
been nerfed a lot if people did that more.
Yeah, probably true. We saw a bunch of different pinnacles. We saw the Sylve both games. Game 1, we saw Tyrande. We saw Thrall both games. Do you feel that the pinnacles are universally strong, or is it really hit or miss depending on the hero? What's kind of your take on the current meta?
I think they're fundamentally terrible as a design. Like, you either, by the definition that the dev has created for us, they want them to be a rare occurrence that doesn't happen every game, and when they do, they're going to be very strong. So, definitionally, you're going to have games wherein one team is going to have a bad time because their hero either isn't a real hero, because the rest of the kit has been gutted a la Kerrigan, or you're going to get the really strong thing, and then the other team's going to have a miserable time.
Because the hero is completely OP, a la Kerrigan. I think
fundamental design is terrible, and then so far as play, you've taken a lot of heroes which were otherwise good, and just fine all-rounders, and flatten them into a you must optimize for this thing or it doesn't matter at all. And it's just very sad.
Well said. I think that makes a lot of sense. And it's something that I've seen echoed across the community. We'll see how the next patch balances these things. If
That's optimistic.
It is optimistic. But we can always hope for better. I'm going to let you get back to celebrate with your team. Before I do, are there any shout-outs you want to give? The floor is yours.
Cheers to my wonderful team. Here's to another great season together. I'm glad nobody's rage quit yet. That would be a bad thing. Thanks to Amon or Ayman, I've been saying that wrong for like 2 years, for all his wonderful scouting. It does do us a great deal of help. Bones for not tilting out of his mind yet. We'll see how long that takes, though. That's it.
All right, sounds good.
My team too, Duke, Jaeger. I'm quite happy with all of them. It's been a fun time.
Awesome. Love to hear it. All right, well played tonight, Protoss, and catch you on the next one.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks for casting. We always love to see it.
Of course. Take care.
Cheers.
So there you have it, everyone. A good start to the season for Braincellmates. They're feeling good. They're feeling strong. They like their playoff chances. And with play like we saw tonight, I wouldn't be surprised to see them comfortably in the postseason. We'll see what the meta continues to evolve as with the Mythic quests, with the Battleground changes. Even Murky got a recent rework, so it's really anyone's guess what the next few months of Heroes of the Storm will look like. Before I sign off, I want to give some shout-outs of my own. First and foremost, to all of you who tuned in. It's always great to get to put a highlight on the NGS teams and have people show up and cheer them on, so thank you for tuning in. A huge shout-out to both of the teams for playing an excellent series. All of the volunteer staff at Nexus Gaming Series, the mods, the board, the casting leadership, the rules team, the rules enforcement team, because those are separate, the events squad, the div mods, I might have already said that. Everybody works real hard, and they do it all for free, and it's why we get to play the games that we do in this league. So if you haven't lately, thank your div mods. And last but not least, a huge shout out to all of the programmers, artists, and musicians whose work I feature here on the stream. It wouldn't look or sound anywhere near as good without all their contributions. You can find links to all of their work below or coming up here in a credit roll. Please do go check them out. All of the work is Creative Commons licensed or open source, so if you've seen or heard anything that you liked, it could be in your next project as well. Until next time, friends, you've been excellent. Good luck and have fun out there. Peace and love.